Alright, so when you go to install Fedora KDE Edition, this will be the first thing that pops up after you plug in your USB. If you just leave this alone for a second, it'll go ahead and start into the Fedora KDE Live 38, which is the option we want to choose. So we're just going to hit enter here. So when you are booted in to the Fedora Live install environment, this is the screen you'll be greeted with. Now, right quick, I'm going to change mine so that it fits my screen resolution a little bit better, and I'm just going to do that by right-click, configure display settings, and then changing my resolution all the way up to 1920 by 1080, hit apply, keep, and then I'll hit this little X. From here, we can play around in the Fedora KDE Live Edition if we want to, right? We can see this is our application launcher, which is kind of like your start menu. You have some system settings, Discover, which is the KDE Software Center, and we'll talk more about that later. You have your file browser, which is Dolphin in KDE, and you have Firefox installed, as well as a bunch of other little apps that you can use. But we're just going to go ahead and install the hard drive. We'll double-click this icon. Now, after we've double-clicked the icon, we'll be greeted with this, where we're going to choose our language and if there's a subset or language that we'd like to use. So English US works fine for me. Next, you'll see it auto-detected what kind of keyboard that we want. That is English US here. What we're going to do is where it says installation destination, we need to click on this. And then this right here, it's weird because in a lot of other distributions you would click on what you want. In Fedora, that'll actually unselect it. So basically, if this is the drive that you want to connect it to, right, if there's nothing that you would like to manually partition or change or leave how it is, then, if you're doing a fresh install, completely wiping what was on that drive, you can just go up here and hit done, which is what I'm going to be doing today. You'll also see my network and hostname are already connected. If you have wireless internet, you might have to manually configure that. But for me, I'm using Ethernet, so it just picked up my home network right away. The next thing that we're going to do is create our root account. So we'll click here, we'll hit enable root account, and I'm going to make our root password the same thing that I did in our Debian tutorial, which was just yes, Y-E-S. And for Fedora, that's too short. But it's okay, still go along with it. We'll just hit done twice up here. Now, it did recommend us not to do that, right? But that's fine for these purposes. I would recommend you use a more secure password for your actual system, but this is running in a virtual machine for me, so it's fine. Next, I'm going to go to user creation. And same thing here, I'm just going to set up a user called Cass, and I'm going to give them the exact same password as our root password. I'll hit done twice, and then I will begin installation. This might take a few minutes. I'll be back when it's done. All right, and now that that's all finished, we can just hit finish installation. And then most desktop environments will do this for you. For some reason, Fedora does not. The next thing that we need to do is to restart the system. So we'll just go down here to our application launcher and click restart. Then we'll hit OK. Now that we've rebooted into Fedora, we'll have to enter our password. Alright, so when we have first logged in to Fedora, this is what we'll see. It just says welcome to KDE Plasma. We can go through this. It just shows you a few things that you can use, like this is your system app and it's in your tray. This is, some of the powerful tools that you can use, like encrypting files, using KDE Connect to use things on your phone, right? It'll show you your software manager, which is Discover in this case. This, by default, is fine. Yeah, it just asks, do we want to share data with KDE and Fedora, or do we not? These are for online accounts. If you want to say add a Google account or something, you can do that, and that's fine, but I'm not going to here. And then finally, just a little offer to get involved, right, to make your own contributions to KDE. So we'll hit finish. And from here, we can begin running things exactly the way we want to. So the first thing to do on any newly installed system is to go ahead and update your software. Now, what I think is the most user-friendly way to do this is to simply go down here This is our KDE Discover, our graphical package manager, and it is really, really, really good. And you'll see it has some updates that we need to make. But before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix, quote unquote, DNF, which is our package manager that runs in the background of everything. And when I say fix DNF, I really just mean we're going to make it a little quicker. So first thing that we'll do is we'll go to Firefox. Once we're in Firefox, all we need to do is we'll go to this website. Now this will also be linked underneath the video, but this is a bunch of my configurations that I have personally for Fedora 38. And all we're going to do is we're going to click on this file here that says dnf.conf. It's basically our config file for DNF. Now, there's not a lot actually that has been changed here, but it really does help us. Okay, so then what you can do, all right, is we can just download this file, or we can copy the text from it if you prefer to do that. But I think it's better to just download this raw file. So then what we'll do is we can go here and click on Dolphin, which is our file browser, and we'll see right there in downloads is our dnf.conf file. Then all we do is we'll hit our application launcher. Then all we do is we hit our application launcher down here, or we can get to that by pressing the Windows key, and we'll go to console, which is the terminal for Fedora. So this should be the only thing that we'll have to do in console, unless you just want to tinker more with Fedora. But all we're going to type in is sudo mv, which just means move, and sudo just means, hey, use administrator privileges for this. Downloads, make sure you spell that with a capital, /dnf.conf, and you'll notice if you hit tab, it'll even complete that for you. And where we're going to move that is to /etc/dnf/. We'll hit enter. We will type in our administrator password, and then as we see in downloads, that file has disappeared, and then it has moved. So what happens from this is that DNF, the package manager for Fedora, is going to run much, much quicker. What we can do now is we can either go into KDE Discover, which is our graphical package manager, go to Update, and then hit this little Update All button, which is perfectly fine and is very user-friendly, I think, for beginners. But I really like using the terminal, and if you would like to learn how to do things in the terminal with DNF, I'm going to show you that now. So the next thing that we could do is we could just type in sudo dnf upgrade. It'll ask for our sudo or our administrator password. I'll type that in. And then what it's going to do is it's going to find all of our updates and the fastest place they can come from, and it's going to download them for us. Again, this is the same thing that KDE Discover would be doing, just in a different way, right? It's just two different interfaces. Personally, I like this way, just because I'm a fast typist and I can always get to console, which is the terminal application. So you'll see here, it'll ask us, do we want to accept all of these updates? And it's a big long list because, as we can see here in KDE Discover, it's 879 packages that need to be updated. But the size here is 1.5 gigs. Here is 4.3. Really, it is 4.3 gigs probably, but the actual download size is only 1.5 or 1.5. So we'll just hit enter, or we could type Y and then press enter. It's the same thing. And then it's going to go through and download all the packages that we need and update them. It'll ask us once again if it's okay to import these keys, and we'll just say yes. Again, we can either type Y or we can leave it blank, and if we hit enter, it will import them. Now that may take some time, but after it's complete, everything on our system should be updated. So I can go ahead and close the terminal here. Now I'm going to go back into KDE Discover and show you how to get some of the common apps that you may be using, such as Spotify, Steam, or Discord. So again, we'll go to Discover, down at the bottom. And then after that launches, what we need to do is go to our settings. Now here, you can see that there are some sources for where it's going to get our packages or our applications. And what we need to do is we're going to add a source here. And it's going to be a Flatpak repository. So then what we need to enter here is https://flathub.org/repo/flathub.flatpak-repo. And basically all that's saying is that we will get Flatpaks, which is just a different kind of package or application. And we're going to get those from flathub.org and the FlatHub repo. We'll hit add. We'll have to type in our administrator password. Then hit OK. Then all we should have to do is we might need to relaunch KDE Discover. We'll be able to go either through all applications and to look through them, or we can just search for the applications that we need. So say that we need Steam. You'll see here our second option is just Steam, and we'll see that it's from that Flatpak repository. Or if we need Discord. And the same thing, it's going to come in a Flatpak and it'll be right here for us. And we can just install those, and then I'll go through without a hitch. To show you, I'll click install. And then we'll even get a nice little progress bar while Discord is installing. It might take a moment because of your system or your internet speed. Then as soon as that is finished, we can go down to our application launcher by either clicking the little Fedora icon or by pressing our Windows key. And then I can just type here, if I want to search for one, Discord. And there, it'll pop right up. I can hit enter. You'll see Discord begins to launch, update, and work without a hitch. Now, I'm not going to sign in here, but if I wanted to, I could. All right. Now, what I like about KDE is not only is it very Windows-like, it also comes with some very Windows-like applications. So if a user needed to use something like Word or PowerPoint, they could go down to their application launcher, go to Office, and then we'll just scroll down till we see, for example, LibreOffice Writer, which is our Microsoft Word kind of proponent or alternative here on Linux. And then we can just begin typing as we would in MS Word, right? And this is great. You can save your files, right? So if I go to Save As, you'll see that I can save it as ODF, which is the LibreOffice format. Or I can save it as one of these other formats, right? Like .docx, which Microsoft Word now uses, right? I can even save it as a Word template and then pull it up later in Word and begin working directly from it, which is great because you don't want any of your programs to take away from being able to collaborate with your peers that may still be using Windows or Mac OS. From there, it's pretty much just going down to the settings bar and configuring settings the way that you want. Do you want a light theme, or do you want, say, for example, a dark theme? If I click Breeze Dark and then apply, you'll see everything goes dark, including even my wallpaper, because that's just how this is set up from the start. But I can change the speed of animations. I can change my wallpaper from here. You know, and there's a lot of different changes that you can make with KDE, and I'll probably show a few of those changes and useful settings to have in later videos. But really, to get started, this is all you need. Fedora is really easy to set up out of the box, and that's why I love it so much. As always, thank you for your time. Hope you learned something, and I hope that you found this video useful in transforming you into a Fedora Linux user. Thank you very much.